Everyone hates doing their resume. I want to make a case for why you should take it seriously. I'll show you a bullet formula that leads to world-class resumes, and I'll make a case for why you should take the resume seriously and how it might help you in your career. So why should you spend time on a resume? A lot of people look at it as something that needs to be done. Check the box, send it off to a company, show them you had a bunch of jobs doing different things. That is the wrong way to look at a resume. At its best, a resume will help you understand what you're good at, help you come up with stories you can use in interviews, and help you reflect on what you've done in your career, whether you like it or not, and what you might want to be doing in the future. Let's look at some basic do's and don'ts of resumes. A big thing people do not do enough in resumes is brag, be very clear about what they've achieved and accomplished, share how they think about problems, or frame things as stories, things that somebody might want to ask about in a follow-up conversation. Instead, the things you shouldn't do are often the things people do. They write job descriptions. They say, I was responsible for this task X. They use buzzwords that don't really mean anything at another company. Or they go on and on with endless amounts of details that don't give the reader any sense of what these people are good at or what they want to do in their next job. Let's walk through an example of a bullet. So let's pull this up. Assist with the build and rollout of Program X. This is often a bullet I see on resumes. People just list very high-level accomplishments. The problem with this is it doesn't explain what the person actually worked on. It raises a number of questions. What did you really do? How did you do that? You built what? Was it successful? How do you know? I often talk to people and they list these very surface-level observations on their resume. I like to ask a series of questions. I keep going deeper and ask them more and more about what they really did. What was the outcome? Did you succeed? Can you prove it? What was unique about your contribution? What did others say about it? So with a bullet like this, working on Program X, right? What I often say is, what did you really do? And I often get answers like this. Oh yes, of course, that was a huge project, one of the biggest I was involved in. I helped to redesign the system with a number of VPs and so on. And then you get so much more richer information. You get the outcomes, the percentage increase, the impact on the bottom line. And my response is, why didn't you just write that? I think in resumes, we need to give ourselves permission to communicate clearly and simply. We're just communicating with other humans. We don't need to disguise our language and what we think we need to do in terms of business jargon or filling in certain templates. Often simpler and clearer is better. So let's look at the final bullet based on her answer. And it looks great now, right? There's a lot of information in there. But let's really break this down. And remember the 3-bullet formula. What you did, how you did it, and the impact. Looking at the bullet, you can see what you did is the first part. How she did it is the second part. And then the impact is the final part. Ideally, you want to have all 3 elements in all the bullets of your resume. And some people struggle with that, right? They say, what if they don't know everything I was involved in, right? More or less, if somebody's recruiting for your role, they're more interested in what you can bring to their company than what you did at the last company. So by focusing only on bullets where you had a clear impact and a big role in the project, you can shrink your resume down to the most impactful things that highlight your story. The final thing I recommend people do is to actually just go through the resume and start highlighting different bullets you have to pull out different themes. And you'll often find that you have 3 or 4 things you're continuously good at. And you can use these to help you frame your story as you go into the interview. You can point to bullets on the resume and say, oh, that's the story about me problem solving, or this is examples of me communicating well. And then you can use those stories, write them out, and have a very structured way of how you're presenting yourself in the interview.